All right, welcome to World Voice Day, April 16th. My name is Sean Caldwell. I'm a voiceover talent with a studio in Clearwater, Florida. And today, we have a really cool opportunity to meet somebody that is heading into the Guinness Book of World Records because of something he did with his voice. Say hi to Frzy. Hey, Frzy.
What's going on, Sean, man? Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome.
Everything is good. I can't wait to hear more about this. And also joining us is Dr. Jackie Gardner-Schmidt, PhD from the University of Pittsburgh Voice Center. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, hi there.
All right. So, Frzy, for the people that don't know what you did, like, tell us, you have this amazing new thing in the Guinness Book of World Records. Tell us about it.
Man, you know, just as an MC, I'm a hip-hop rapper nationally, international, and just wanted to do something special, you know, to kind of help not only add to awareness of music and hip-hop in general, but to my legacy itself. And, you know, growing up, Guinness Book of World Records is legendary. So they had a record for the longest rap marathon, which was pretty awesome. And the record standard at 25 hours and I think 50 minutes. So we wanted to try to do that and try to top that. And I have officially broken the record at 31 hours and 50 seconds, I think.
Wow. Did you know going into it that 31 hours was the goal? Or did you just kind of, once you got past, you're like, let's see how far I can go?
Yeah, no, 31 was the goal. We, it's funny actually when I talked to Dr. Jackie, we were already talking about 31 hours. Like that was already the goal. And then some brands and some famous restaurants like made challenges to try to have me go 32 or 33. But we kind of capped at 31 and was like, depending on how I feel, we can keep going. But Dr. Jackie was here to make sure that I was able to talk about it afterwards. Instead of breaking the record and then going into sign language. Okay.
Now, I mean, some people are probably unfamiliar with freestyle rap. Tell me what freestyle rap is.
So freestyle rap is really cool, man. It's really when you rap off the top of your head, but you go into it with no preparation, nothing prepared. You just kind of rap what's around you, or you'll get a subject or something like that. The record actually was for rap marathon, so you could actually rap anything you wanted to. You could rap your own song, other people's songs. Some people in the past rapped movie scripts and comic books and things like that. But I wanted to do something different. I'm known for being able to freestyle very well. So I wanted to step up to the challenge and create something that was different and freestyle the whole time instead of reading other people's stuff. I kind of thought it was cheating a little bit. So I wanted to do something original and do that, which actually might end up getting me 2 records now because I did the longest freestyle ever and the longest rap.
That's amazing. I've been friends with a few rappers in Detroit and in Atlanta, but I'd say probably my first experience with freestyle was after I saw Kinky Boots on Broadway and Wayne Brady was there.
Let's go. Come on, Wayne.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, just, you know, we're going to throw out some opportunities for people to pick a word, and it can be any word that means anything. And then like he puts together this whole great freestyle rap with all these words that had nothing to do with each other. And it was great.
Yeah, it's an art form, man. It's an art form, and it's really just not only being creative, but being, I think, in tune with the rhythm of your body, your voice, and your mind.
Yeah, neat. Yeah. I mean, I think about some of the projects that I've worked on. I've done some long narrations that have aired on TV networks or on Discovery Channel or things like that.
Right.
And usually, for like an hour-long show, it's like a 3-hour recording session where, you know, I'm vocalizing for probably 60% of it.
Right.
And at the end of that, man, I am ready to it's exhausting. So I'm thinking, like that's after 3 hours, like 31 hours. That's you really had to prepare for this. So tell me, like, how did you meet Dr. Jackie, and how did that happen?
Oh man, well yeah, she's literally like I'm like Rocky. I feel like she's like my trainer. Like we have so many epic montages of me training to get ready for this because I couldn't have done it without her. And so a couple years ago, I had my adenoids removed and my tonsils taken out. I had infected adenoids. And Dr. Ryan Seuss did my surgery, and we became close friends. And the surgery actually picked up some press from me being a celebrity artist and him being just like this world-renowned surgeon in his field. And we just stayed in contact and stayed close. And he really helped teach me more about my throat. So when he found out I was doing this, he reached out to me and mentioned Dr. Jackie. She's a legend. She's modest, but she's a legend. And he was telling me about her and the Voice Center and what they do, and that he was like, listen, if you're going to do this, you need to have the right people behind you. So I would like to have you come in and meet with her and her team in the center and really, you know, try to make this thing not only possible, but do it the right way and be smart and make it educational. And I came in for the appointment, and the rest is literal history, thanks to her. So it was great, man. We sat down, I learned a lot, and everything that I learned that got me prepared for this. And she was there for every step of the way, every break, and listened even when she went home. I think I was in her ear as she fell asleep. But not only that, but now even still with everything I have going on, being back to quote unquote normal, I still do everything, all my new vocal exercises I learned. I still have my steamer I do almost every single night, twice. So I'm on top of it, man. So that, I mean, that's a lot. I'm going into a lot already, but that's how I met the queen. Yes.
That's amazing. I mean, Jackie, tell me what you thought when you first heard about this. Like, to me, it sounds pretty stunning. Somebody's going to attempt to vocalize for 31 hours. Like, what?
Right.
What I thought was, oh my gosh, it's never been done before. You know, in our animal research, human subjects, all that, it's maybe 30 minutes, maybe 3 hours, but certainly not 31 hours. So, I saw my role in this well, let's put it this way. 31 hours, incredible, Guinness World Book of Records. He sounded great. So there's all this greatness. But at the end of the day, Frizzy's body, because we know this from science, was not thinking it was great. His vocal folds, his body saw his vocal folds vibrating for that long duration actually as a wound, as an injury site. So my whole kind of thing in this was to make sure that his vocal fold tissues, otherwise known as vocal cords, were safe and healing and decreasing inflammation. So here's an example. Let's say we rake the lawn for 31 hours. So
I'm already feeling some pain right here.
Well, let's talk about our hands. So our hands, we've got skin on our hands, right? Yeah. We've got an epithelial layer on top of our vocal folds. And if we were raking for 31 hours, our skin would start to chafe, and little nooks and crannies might crack into our skin. So if we're smart, we put gloves on. But we can't put gloves on the vocal folds. So what Frzy said, he steamed like crazy, and in between each section of singing break, we did these voice exercises that ostensibly decrease inflammation and kind of reset him so he could go for another 4, 5, 6 hours, and then we'd meet, reset. And then at the very end, just as you said, Frzy, you weren't out of the woods. Because his body is it's called an inflammatory response to a wound. So we kind of shut him down, paced a little bit of voice and steaming, and we gave him this strict guidelines of 4 or 5 minutes doing these tasks and some silence, and for the first 3 days. And then after that, he got back to speaking, and we strobed him. We did laryngeal imaging. We looked at his vocal folds, and Frzy is a freak of nature, and I'm in the possible way. And I guess part of this too is those people who may think that they can do what Frzy did. I'd be really cautious of it, because Frzy, he did it the right way. And B, it's, some people, they're just built for this. And I think that he's one of those people. I'm 6'1", and it doesn't matter how much I want to be a gymnast, I am a gymnast, right? So that there's some people that if they tried this, it could be bad.
Yeah. Frzy, did you, people that run marathons and things like that, they train for a while, they build up, they don't start running the full marathon, they kind of work up to it. Did you try to go for a few hours like the week before or days before, or no?
Well, no, actually, I didn't, only because I rap all the time, right? It's my career. So I kind of been training for this my whole life, right? with now getting to the level where, you know, from starting as an artist that was doing a quick 5-minute set in a show to now I'm headlining stadiums and I'm doing an hour and a half set. So, you know, I've learned pacing and things like that already. And also I didn't want to, it was weird in a way, I didn't want to practice because I was like, oh man, like what if I do this 2 hours perfect, but then I get a sore throat because I'm doing it wrong, right? And then I didn't want to go into this thing with a sore throat. And even when I sat with Dr. Jackie and her team, she, you know, she let me know. She was like, listen, we're gonna strobe. It's not gonna affect you. It's not gonna hurt you. But like, let me know if you're worried or you're scared. We won't do it, you know. And so she was very cautious about that and making sure that I was very comfortable in it. But I think it was more so mental than anything as well. Like my body, after a while, you know, because me and Dr. Jackie would communicate while I was going, which I had to communicate with her, but we were communicating while we were going, and she would check on me to make sure I was good. I think I went into like a zone kind of, and just zoned out my body and my mind and my throat, which is it was synergy. We were in sync. It was interesting because even when the 31 hours was done, her and I both looked at each other. I could have kept going. I definitely was in the mode where I feel like I could have comfortably went 33. But the emotion of the moment and people cheering and confetti and the cameras and, you know, hundreds of people there, I ended up crying and then I stopped and stuff like that. But afterwards, I did like a little bit of press and then like we went downstairs. Dr. Jackie was like, yo, we need to go downstairs. And as soon as I like stopped talking for longer than like 5 minutes, my jaw got swollen. Like literally, like I didn't even anticipate. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a sore throat, but my jaw like locked up. Right. And I thought it was gonna be like that for a while, but by the morning it went down. But immediately it locked up on me and shut me up, even if I didn't want to.
Wow.
And remember on Frzy, in between, we would do a lot of massage.
Yes.
Pharyngeal massage. We had like one of those, you know, ball massage things. So we did a lot of that. And Frzy, there's a whiteboard that we would communicate when he was doing it. And there's a couple of times just with the freestyle rap, and he was getting tired that, you know, there was not a lot of pitch variation going on. Right. And sometimes like our inside the voice box muscles, our outside the voice box muscles, there's like a lot of them, 14 pairs of muscles, and they can kind of get locked, like carpal tunnel syndrome, right? Constant motion injury. And so I'd be going, okay, like more pitch inflection there, double time.
Right. So you made me go fast.
Agility.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was good. It was good.
So you during each hour, I mean, are you drinking a little bit of caffeine or you avoid caffeine? You're just doing water? What are you doing to stay hydrated?
So I avoided caffeine for sure. And I avoided food. I was basically kind of fasting. I just did water. In the rules, you only got a 5-second break in between words. So like if I stopped for longer than 5 seconds, I was done. I lost. So I would have to rap, like they would keep me, Dr. Jackie would give me like lukewarm water, not ice cold. Cause originally I would think that, and this is another reason, the little stuff, right, that you don't think of. I was like, I just want ice cold water. She's like, are you crazy? No, this is what you get. And then I learned that, cause even now I drink lukewarm water. I mean, like she's kind of like my Jiminy Cricket, even when she's not with me. So I drank a lot of lukewarm water, and I would do it like I would rap, you know what I mean? But I would have to pace that too, because I would get a break every like 7 hours. So if I drank too much water, I would have to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? Which would then make it more difficult. So I had to push through that and pace it, and it really was a marathon. You know what I mean? To make sure that, and Dr. Jackie was. Wahlburgers was one of the sponsors, so they provided the water, and Dr. Jackie was on them, like making sure I had fresh cups of water, like continuously. When she would leave, she would call in, hey, make sure that water's coming. She would come, make sure that she would touch the water herself, make sure, you know what I mean? She was like a best friend, a doctor, and a mom at the same time. So it was really a great combination of synergy.
Some of my favorite tools to be able to get through long things are the straw. If people are familiar with straw phonation.
Yes.
And just doing some of those things to stretch out and kind of undo some of the pressing. And then this is my steamer. I've gone through a lot of steamers, and this is my favorite one. It works great.
Yes, that's
put a link
the
down
baby
below
right there.
if people want it.
This is where I'm living at.
Okay.
I'm living right here. Yeah.
Okay. I learned from somebody in Atlanta that worked with a lot of rappers. He said when they're, not just rappers, but any professional person, when they're recording albums and they're in the studio for hours and hours and hours going and singing, she said they're like steaming in between every take, like they're just over there trying to get as much moisture in as possible. So I'm like, all right, well, it must be good for me too, since I'm going for hours and hours too, right? Okay, that's great. Jackie, how can some of this apply to other people that are, I mean, there are millions of school teachers and people that work in call centers and people that do use their voice a lot. And, you meet some of them sometime and you can tell they're overworking it and they're just starting to sound like this a lot after a few hours of work. So what can you apply to them that also helped Frzy?
Yeah, actually everything that I did with Frzy. So the steam, teachers are our #1 patient population, and part of it is because of their voice use. But the other part of it is a lot of teachers have kids, or they do chorus after, or they do tutoring after, and they don't have any time for the vocal folds to actually rest and pace. And then we did straw phonation, as you just showed. We did face mask phonation. We did lip bubbles. We did straw phonation in water because the submerging and tubing in water, there's more pressure, back pressure that comes back to. Well, we did humming. We did all of these things. And the important thing is A, it feels good. I call it yoga for the vocal folds. And B, I call it the 3 S's. All of these, they're called semi-occluded vocal tract postures. They stretch the vocal folds. They spread the vocal folds apart so we don't feel so much constriction and tightness. And they actually change the shape of the vocal folds to dissipate this shearing action that happens. So all of this is to say that it's great for tissue health. And then with speaking, there's good technique, and then there's technique that's not so good right now. So, I'm a huge believer in everyone, actually, whether you have a voice disorder or not, to learn healthy speaking technique.
Okay, that's great. I mean, I hear so many people talk about vocal fry, and once you learn to listen for it, it's like I can put my mic a little closer, and it's like people that just start talking like this, like they just don't have anything, and that's just going to wreck their voice over time, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Yeah. And when Frzy came back, so we saw him on Friday, right? It was actually before. So we saw him Friday. We did some science geeky stuff. We took acoustics, like the sound of his voice. We took some airflow measures. Then we looked down with a flexible scope, so a black, rubber hose up your nose, and we looked to make sure everything was moving. And then we used, it's called an NBI, a narrow band imaging. It's a light source that actually shows up the blood vessels of a throat. I mean, it's used all over the body. And then we looked at the vocal folds vibrate in slow motion. And after, so Frzy went Saturday. When did you end again? 5 o'clock on Sunday?
Yeah, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock on Sunday.
So 5 o'clock on Sunday. I actually wanted to get him into the...
I was with it too. We would have went
that day. That night. But was shot down, and I understand that. Anyways, so he came on Monday because he was still in that acute phase of wound healing, basically inflammation, and his vocal folds looked amazing. The only thing that we saw was a little bit of the vessels, which I talked to you about, and that's completely normal. That's what the body does when it has a wound. It goes, hey, I need more blood vessels. Go down to the wound site and take some oxygen and bring nutrients to it and help it. So anyways, and then we did acoustics, aerodynamics, and we saw you on Friday?
Yep, on Friday, yep.
And then the next Friday, and then the next Friday.
Yep.
Where I say that Frzy is a freak of nature is because, to be honest, no huge difference except that, first post-rap where we saw more vascularity. But then by Friday, he was back down at baseline, and it's quite amazing. But
That is really, really. Now, I mean, we talked about some things for people that are kind of endurance vocal athletes.
Yeah.
Can some of these things help people that are, you know, giving a presentation at work for 5 or 10 minutes, or somebody that needs to just get up in front of people and have, you know, the important 5-minute phone call and they feel a little bit nervous? Any of these things can help their voice get through some of that?
Absolutely, 100%. The one thing that I would add for any type of nerves is to do some breathing, some relaxation. And when you're speaking this is a little nuanced, to actually feel the sounds of speech when you're speaking. Of course, don't hold it out like I just did. But when we feel that there, we know that we're not trapping our airflow and squeezing down here. And it's a little bit more freedom when we speak. So there's little things like that we work with patients and with clients. The one other thing I wanted to say with Frzy, and this may sound odd, but Frzy, we know that male vocal folds actually have a little bit more something called hyaluronic acid. It's HA. We've got it all over our body. And male vocal folds, I think it's like have 5 or 6 times the amount of female vocal folds. So this HA is kind of like a shock absorber. So when you've got the vocal folds vibrating all of this time, right, causing this shearing action and heat and friction, for men, the HA may be protective for them. So I guess bottom line, I'm glad you're a guy.
Yeah, right?
It would not be good probably for me to do this.
Frzy, I guess there's no worries that Nicki Minaj is going to try to beat your record.
I'm not worried about it, man. Tell her to go to sleep. I'm not worried about it. You know what I mean? No, but I mean, that's the thing that's so cool is as I'm in the process still of learning the science behind all of this, you know, and knowing that to do something like this the right way, like it's kind of like scaling a building, right? I could be the best climber in the world, but I need a good rope, and I need, you know what I mean? I need good gloves, right? I need the weather to be on my side. There's a lot of things that go into doing something like this, and letting a lot of these artists, because of course once it came out, Dr. Jackie was very patient with me in my situation too, because as soon as we did it, of course the press went crazy and everybody wanted to do interviews, and it was one of those things where you were like, yo, I just, you know, rap for 31 hours. Like, I'm not allowed to talk. And they, like, did not care. I think, like, that next morning, I did the news, like, that next morning before I even went in to see Dr. Jackie. And then, like, a couple days later, we had to do some radio press together, which we did that. So she was like, I'll give you a break. I'll let you talk for, like, 30 minutes, and then we're done. Like, you're done.
And then we're strawing, and then we're masking, and then we're steaming, and everything else.
And then she was like, you're not allowed to talk. So, like, it was cool that, you know, I got back to myself so quickly, not only for my body working, but for listening to the doctor and understanding what it takes to make your body function on that level and to get it back to normal, because I could have changed my life and my career forever trying to be cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I mean, you do hear of different people that attempt to do something, whether it's, you know, shouting or doing something loud, and their voice has changed, if not for months and years, but potentially forever, right?
Yeah.
So this is super, super important, because Frzy, remember you told me about a week or 2 after that there were some people that were starting to try to do this.
Yes, yeah. So everybody was coming at me, right?
I know, and I was having a heart attack, and so no, because, you know, the other thing that I was a little fearful of is, remember, again, when there's a wound, blood goes to that wound. It's called angiogenesis. All these new little blood vessels are trying to help the wound, right? But Frzy kept on singing. And so then you've got all these new little blood vessels right at the kissing edge of the vocal folds, and pop goes the weasel. You could have right? And the worst thing is that you have a bleed that comes with a friend, and that's called a hemorrhagic polyp. And that is what derails any artist. That's when we shut down tours. That's when we shut down concerts, where there's a sudden voice change. So that's the whole thing why we were doing all of these things, is just to keep that inflammation down, reset, keep that inflammation down, reset. And then once he finished, you know, we watched him like a hawk.
Yeah.
31 hours is an almost unbelievable vocal load to put on, you know, for anybody to attempt. It truly is amazing.
Truly.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, and I mean, that's what made it so much fun, and to see how much it inspired not only the hip hop community, but the world, was something that was huge, you know? So it was really exciting for me to be able to see people's responses and other artists be like, well, I could do it. I want to try it, and have to tell them like, listen, man, it's not a game. You know what I mean? So be smart about how you do it. And if you want to try this thing, I'm not going to stop you, but you know, I had some help. So it's not just me walking in front of into a mall and rapping. You know what I mean? Open. So
hey, I want to do a shout out to my my colleague Libby Smith, laryngologist. She was here every step of the way. So yeah, shout out to Lib.
Yeah, Lib killed it out here.
Frzy, congratulations. It's really an honor to get to speak with you and to kind of hear the story. And same, you know, same Jackie, you are excellent at what you do. And it's just such a pleasure to get a chance to talk to you guys.
Oh man, thank you so much, man. It was an honor getting a chance to meet you and be on here, man. This won't be the last time. We're gonna be bothering you a lot now. You're stuck with us.
All right. Well, happy World Voice Day, everyone.
Happy World Voice Day.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching. See y'all.
All right.